huge news for your Utah Jazz, and that is that Donovan Mitchell is out for the rest of the regular season, a week. But the point is, that means he is not going to play a competitive game until the first round of the playoffs, and I think this is a huge, huge risk. Now, if he's healthy, if he's not healthy, okay, I understand he's got this ankle thing. Rust is a real factor. We've seen it with multiple guys who have missed multiple games, months. Anthony Davis was rusty. LeBron was rusty. Donovan Mitchell is going to be rusty for the first several games of the first round. Jake, how concerned about this are you?
Yeah, I'm really concerned about it, frankly. I think that we don't know, if we're being really honest, we have no idea if Don is going to be back for the first round. I mean, we've just been told, hey, he's going to miss this next week. He's going to miss the regular season, and that's the update we have. So, yeah, I would assume, like logically speaking, I would assume he's going to be back for the first round. But the fact is, we have no idea. We don't know if he does come back in the first round. Does that mean that he is playing hurt? Does that mean that he's not 100%? Does it mean that he is 100%, but he's rusty, as you were just alluding to? So I have major concerns about this. The other thing that I'm concerned about is we don't have an update on Mike Conley, at least that I saw. Did you see an update on Mike Conley?
I did not.
I didn't see any update on Mike Conley. So what we're doing here is we're sitting here, going through this week of games. Big game tonight with Portland that we will be at.
Huge game.
And we'll get into that a little bit. But overall, my concern level is high just because I'm not panicking, but I think it's a major thing for this team as we've seen to not have Don and Mike going. Imagine that. You don't have your two best players on this roster for the first round. That's probably, most likely, potentially going to be against the Los Angeles Lakers, who will have LeBron James and Anthony Davis. So, yeah, it's concerning. I'd be lying if I said that I was just like, yeah, everything's kosher and he'll be back and we'll be fine. Like it's not. That's not where this team's at right now.
I think mistake is probably strong. I think Donovan Mitchell not playing in the regular season is a real risk. I think it's a mistake. I think if you are capable of playing on any level, even if it's one game, one half of one game, you should do it because they need that rust to be knocked off. You cannot knock off rust in shoot-arounds and practices. You're going to have an entire week off to add to that. And I understand, hey, maybe this means the ankle injury was worse than we knew, and maybe he needs more recovery time. Hey, that's cool. But we don't know that. And my biggest concern is this Utah Jazz team cannot afford another first-round exit. It's simply not an option for this Jazz team to go out early in the playoffs, Jake. I don't even know the disaster that would be.
Yeah, I can't, honestly, I don't think that you and I in this show are in a position to speak for Jazz fans in terms of how upset they would be, mainly because we haven't been Jazz fans. We're not Jazz fans. We're observers, obviously, but we haven't grown up here and been the little kid with the Stockton jersey on, and we hadn't gone through that process. And so as a Jazz fan, I'd love to hear in the comments, how would you feel if the Jazz got knocked out in the first round? Because I'm not saying that right here today that is a possibility or that it's likely, let's say. But what I am saying is that could quickly change if we get the news 10 days from now that Donovan Mitchell is not playing. I mean that would be disastrous. Now, being realistic about it, he's not going to play this week, obviously. They are going to have that week that you were just saying when the play-in tournament is executed. So they're going to have time here. So my guess is he will play in the first round, and Mike Conley will play in the first round. That's my guess. The only concern then that you have left is that they are rusty and that they're not 100% where they need to be. So think about it this way. You're going into this round one matchup against the Lakers, 1-8 seed. Lakers are the 8 seed, obviously. And your two best guys are rusty, which means they're not hitting the shots they usually would hit, which means there may be a handful of extra turnovers, which means that you're probably dropping the first game or two in a 7-game series against the Lakers. That doesn't sound like a recipe for surviving the first round. That's what I'm concerned about.
Yeah, and I think one of the interesting dynamics tonight with Portland, is whether or not you should be trying to knock Portland out of the 6th seed and put them into the play-in tournament.
Yeah.
Because I also think there's real credence to this Utah Jazz team avoiding the LA Lakers in round 1. And I don't think you're scared of anybody in particular, Jake, but I think you wouldn't mind not seeing the Lakers in that round 1 game.
Yeah, I'd absolutely rather see the Blazers than the Lakers. Now that said, it's not as though the Portland Trailblazers are a pushover team, but I just think that matchup wise, it's a lot better for the Jazz than the Lakers are, certainly. And if you can catch the Blazers in round 1, win that series in 5 or 6, then you can
so much better.
Let's say that you win that series in 5 or 6, then let's say you catch the Nuggets in round 2 and you win that one in 7. Now you're talking about the Western Conference Finals potentially against the Lakers. So that's why I'm saying these injuries, while they seem not as big of a deal as some other teams are dealing with, these could potentially turn into big problems for this team. Because again, there's no question, and I know this may seem obvious, so forgive me, but if you get down 2-0 in a 7-game series, you're not in a good place. That is not a good place. This team, as we've seen on a game-to-game basis, does not do well playing from behind. This team needs to play ahead. This team needs to control a series. They need to dictate to their opponent. That's the position that they need to be in.
Well, and I also think that it is, there's no doubt in my mind anyway, that fear is not in the equation here. I'm not telling you that the Jazz should be scared of the Lakers, certainly. I'm telling you that you're trying to control a matchup. And I know that the Jazz are comfortably now into the number 1 seed. I cannot believe that the Suns lost that game last night. You got an incredible performance out of Book.
38 from Andrew Wiggins.
I mean, how the Warriors are doing it, I don't know. But my point is, I feel like as I've said for a week now, and really weeks now, I think the West is over. I think the Jazz had this thing sewn up weeks ago. But it would be nice now to dictate your future. And you have a chance in this Blazer game tonight to play a big part in that. And that's why I say, hey, this is a must-win. And there are a couple other dynamics at play here. You've got to figure out a way to get Joe Ingles going. I know that it seems like this is not a big thing, or I'm telling you, Joe Ingles has not been right for a week and a half. And you've got to get him some opportunities to feel good about himself, to have get Joe Ingles rolling. You've got to find a way to make Joe Ingles a priority offensively, at least while Don and Conley are out. I think it's really important that Joe Ingles play a major factor, that he be a bench player in the playoffs. I think a lot of this is him starting, but Jake, I put a lot of priority on getting Jingles going again.
Yeah, and I think if you're Quinn Snyder, to that end with Joe, wouldn't this week be the perfect opportunity for you to start rolling out the playoff rotation in terms of how you're managing a game? Wouldn't you think that you would start instilling that playoff rotation that you're going to run against, in the first round, which I then say, Joe Ingles is coming off the bench and he can really get into that role. Now, I know he's been coming off the bench, but in terms of building his confidence, I want Quinn to say to Joe, hey, I need you tonight. Tonight against the Blazers, I need 20 from you, bro. Or if you're not going to give me 20, I need 15 and 8 or 9 dimes. I need you creating plays for others or simply filling it up. So I would love to see that tonight. And again, I think to that end with Joe, I don't want to see Bogey cool off either.
That's right.
I want to see him continue to, early in this game tonight, I want to see it. I want to see the penetration, and I want to see him start making shots early.
This is a family-friendly show.
My bad.
My point is, this is why I bring up the Donovan Mitchell not playing in the regular season thing.
Yeah.
Because without Donovan Mitchell, and I don't know that Mike Conley's going to come back. And, hey, in the comments, if you've seen an update on Mike Conley, because I have not.
Yeah, I haven't either.
My guess is he's not going to play tonight. But without Conley and Donovan, your rotation for the playoffs is not getting run right now. Guys are creatures of habit. Joe Ingles is a better player as a bench guy than he is as a starter. Point Jingles takes away a lot of his effectiveness. And I think when you see him having to go against, number one guards in this league, you're starting to see that lack of athleticism that occasionally rears its ugly head with Jingles. I think you're seeing that a lot more now. He is a spot-up shooter. He needs to come off the bench and hit wing and corner threes.
Yeah.
That's who Joe Ingles is. Play stellar defense. That's who Joe Ingles is. A lot of those things right now are taken away from Joe Ingles because of this lack of consistency and lack of rotation. You're going to go into the playoffs wondering what your role's going to be. You're going to go into the playoffs not knowing firmly what your rotation's going to look like, because it makes a little more sense now that you've actually said it out loud. Is Donovan Mitchell going to be 100% for round one? Is Donovan Mitchell going to be ready to go for game one of round one? At this point, I don't know. I'm a little surprised that we haven't seen him. I'm a little surprised we still see him in a boot. We don't know the extent of that ankle injury.
I would pose the question of, it's not so much when I question whether he'll be 100%. It's not so much the injury that I'm questioning, because he has time now. You're not going to play this week, as you were just saying 5 minutes ago. They get another week while the play-in tournament is happening, so he's gonna have time to be fine from the injury. Physically, I believe he'll be 100%. More what I'm getting at is, hey, you haven't played a game in what's going to be, after this week and next week, a month or like 5 weeks, I think it's been now, or will be at that time. So You're telling me that Donovan Mitchell is going to sit out the last 3 weeks of the season after that gnarly ass ankle injury in Indiana, in a 1 o'clock game, a weird time of day game. And he's going to sit out these last 3 weeks of the season. You're then gonna get the number one seed as a team, which is a great accomplishment. Well done. And then he's going to come back in that first round and just be nails, just like he's always been.
Yeah.
That's just not how it works. Now, if you said to me, hey, he's going to be bad for a half, but then we'll get him back. Okay, I could kind of see that, but I just don't want this team to get down 2-0 in a 7-game series.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen. I mean, I think the playoffs are difficult, and yeah, you're right. By the time they play a playoff game, he will probably have been out 6 weeks. That's a long time without game action. So I'm not saying this is the end of the world. And a lot of people in the comments, Chu Lee says, great, here we go, more doomsday talk. I'm not saying it's doomsday. What I'm saying is, it's not just Donovan Mitchell that's being impacted by his decision not to play. The rotation, think about it as a bullpen, right? In baseball, a closer knows he's going to pitch in the ninth, usually if their lead is 3 or less, if it's a save situation. Long relief guys know they're going to pitch in long relief. Like guys like Joe Ingles want to be comfortable knowing, hey, I'm not starting. My preparation's going to be a little different, right? Whereas, if you're starting, you have a lot more urgency in pregame warm-up. Like, it's just not your normal routine. You're not comfortable. It isn't rocket science. You can see guys like Jordan Clarkson trying to do too much. You can see 41 points in no dimes the other night in Golden State.
Yeah.
I just think that it's about continuity on this team. Getting Rudy Gobert back to normal Rudy Gobert rotation minutes. Getting guys like Favors. Getting guys like, again, I like George Niang. But listen, there's a reason that he is a Hummer and not a minivan anymore. Because now you're counting on him to be a luxury vehicle instead of a mom and pop grocery giver. It's a play on his nickname. Anyway, the point is, George Niang's not a starter.
Right.
Right? I mean, these guys are playing out of their comfort zones. And it makes them grow and get better. Sure, I get that.
Yeah. Donovan
Mitchell needs to play as soon as he can play.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's the end of the world. I'm really not. Let's see. Cody Strickland, good morning to you. Yeah, that's a huge mistake. He needs to dust off the rust in a game that don't matter. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think that's absolutely right. Him and Conley, I give this an 8 out of 10 on the shit bucket tactic.
Yeah.
Okay. John Mulvanian says Suns and Jazz should push Blazers down below the Lakers. Blazers also have the Nuggets. Yeah. This is not an easy twist. Isn't it Blazers and Suns tomorrow?
I believe so.
In a back-to-back.
And you would expect the Suns to win that game.
That's why that win by the Lakers last night, massive. Massive win in OT. I don't know what R.J. Barrett was doing with the game on the line. Julius Randle open 3 feet to his right. He shoots a three from almost the logo and misses everything.
Yeah, that was very much a J.R. Smith moment for R.J. Barrett.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Cody Strickland says, by the way, how are you guys and your family? Hope that all is well. It is. It is. You know, we've had a lot of good fortune. Frankly,
Yeah,
we have nothing to complain about.
Yeah, things are good. We're just, we're just grinding on this, man. We're trying to. Obviously, it goes without saying we're trying to grow the channel and you know get it into a better spot. And we have other things we're working on too. So but overall, yeah, things are good. I actually appreciate someone asking.
Appreciate you guys being here. By the way, we are at 597 subscribers now.
Okay, 600 Club's coming.
241 subscribers in a month.
It's crazy, dude.
That's crazy. Once we get to 750 again, if you're not subscribed, please hit subscribe. Please give us a thumbs up on this video right now. It helps the channel grow. Once we get to 750 subscribers, we will legitimately be giving away a PlayStation 5 and a hoodie sweatshirt. Mitch wants to know if we guarantee the Uzbekistanian PlayStation. If they get it and there's nothing in the box, will we... Bro, we're not going to give away nothing in the box. Come on. Are you serious? Mitch also says, what did you guys think about the last 2-minute report from Golden State? Okay.
Yeah, knew this would come up.
up. Okay, so if you didn't hear this story in the last 2 minutes, the NBA officials will release a report grading and judging all the calls in the last 2 minutes of a game. Golden State, Utah, the other night, it was controversial. The NBA admitted there were 4 blown calls that all went against the Jazz, went in favor of the Warriors. Look, that's not why you lost the game. The officials had nothing to do with Rudy Gobert not getting that critical rebound, which led to Steph getting another 3-point attempt. The NBA officials had nothing to do with Royce O'Neal forgetting to guard Steph Curry.
Yeah.
They nothing to do with that. The NBA officials did not impact Draymond Green and Steph Curry's years-long chemistry, which led ultimately to the game-winning 3. All of those things were in the control of the Utah Jazz. That's why you lost the game.
Yeah.
Jordan Clarkson taking a fall-away out-of-bounds 3 in the corner is why you lost the game. Not getting the ball to Bogdanovich is why you lost the game. Did the officials hurt you? Yeah, I think you could make the argument that those blown calls, especially the Clarkson foul call on the body, the 3-point foul that was not called, absolutely. Those are calls that should have been made. Is that why you lost the game? It's not. You were down 20-something points in that game. The officials had nothing to do with that. Let's stop saying that officials are costing the Jazz wins.
Yeah.
They're not.
Yeah.
Do you want to say that officials are biased against the Jazz? Okay, you can live in that space. I think you're wasting your energy because every single team whines and complains about the officials.
Yeah.
So do you really think the officials are biased against every team? You're right, they are. Do officials make a lot of mistakes? They do. But, Jake, you can't tell me the officials are biased against the Jazz.
Yeah, the officials are biased against the Jazz as an excuse for the fact that this team didn't execute against the Golden State Warriors.
Correct.
They didn't execute against the Philadelphia 76ers. They didn't execute against the LA Clippers. And, by the way, was anybody complaining about officiating when you blew out the Nuggets? No, they weren't. Everybody was talking about how Bogdanovich was Jesus Christ. So, I don't want to hear...
That's interesting. I've never heard that comparison.
I don't want to hear, oh, my bad, he's Joseph Smith, not Jesus Christ. My bad. I don't want to hear... I don't want to hear, hey, the officials lost us the game, because I see all the media here in Utah running that crap out there. That's not why you lost the game. And by the way, I don't hear fans and commentators and all the usual suspects in this town talking about officiating when you have huge wins and Trent Forrest is going off for 10 points and all of a sudden he's the most developed player of the year for 5 games.
Right, right.
I don't hear it. And so that's why I say, this is a bad habit that basketball fans, particularly the Jazz media, likes to get into. Oh, well, it was a close game on the road and Clarkson got body up or hit on the arm.
Well, it's even more than that. It's when you see, and we've talked about this on the show, when you see guys like Rudy Gobert, when you see Bogey, when you see these guys talking to the officials, and you'll have like Bowler or Locke being like, oh, look at them lobbying the officials, and these calls are ridiculous. And it's like, it's not a good thing that your players are lobbying the officials like that. Yeah. It's not a good thing that Don got ejected against the Sixers. Was it a bad call? Yes, it was. He cost himself an opportunity to win that game.
Why were you in
because he was in the locker room.
Why were you in that position, though? Let's go further back in the game, though. This is what nobody likes to talk about. You were in that position, sorry, Rudy, because you were getting your ass kicked. Rudy Gobert could not stop Joel Embiid. And then as a team, they couldn't stop Joel Embiid. And in that game, they did not shoot the three ball well. So they were behind, which is why, just like in Golden State, you had to come back and play hero ball and chop down a 20 to 25-point lead against a team that you frankly should dominate.
Yes,
and you didn't
that's
do
exactly
that.
right.
And so, I just get a little bit, frustrated with the idea that fans want to be like, oh, well, the officials are against us and the league is out to get us and no free agents want to come to Utah, blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, cool. Live in that space. But what I'm telling you is that this team needs to execute better. This team needs to stop relying on Mike Conley. This team needs to play at a higher level so that you're not in the close game at the end of the game. It's that simple.
Cody Strickland says, I would say Bogey is much more like John the Baptist. Excellent point.
Yeah.
Excellent point.
Let's go.
Jeremy Bolton says, that 2-minute report is such BS. Like, why even release it? Nothing's going to change, but the refs had something to do with Steph not calling that foul on Clarkson on that 3 that could have put the Jazz up 5 with 30 seconds left. Sure. Absolutely. But I see what you're saying, Monty. Braden Christensen, good morning to you. Donovan is not making a mistake. I understand there's a difference between game shape and practice shape. Donovan knows his body and what is best for him in the long run. That rust is real. I mean, if you look at the best players in the league, Anthony Davis, coming back after a long layoff, what did he say after the game last night? Oh, well, my ankle's fine. My Achilles and my calf are fine. My groin is really sore. I'm going to have to do a lot of work to be ready to play. So wait, you just rehabbed for a month, and now you've played 2, 3, 4 games. Oh, and your groin is sore. Mm-hmm. I'd rather that be the last week of the season than the first week of the playoffs.
And the only question that I would pose is just that, I don't disagree that athletes know their body and know what it takes to do the job.
Yes,
I mean, that's
absolutely.
Body, as the saying goes, body is temple. Their body is their money-making
body
machine.
Is temple.
Yeah, that's the saying.
Body is temple.
Yeah, I mean, that's the saying.
Me eat steak.
Okay, anyway, whatever. These guys know what they need to do to play.
You seem a little salty today, dude.
Yeah, well, I get burned out on Jazz fans rolling out this like, tinfoil on the windows narrative.
Okay, well, good. Let me give you some more.
Like, Jesus.
Ace says, how do you guys not see that this is a unique problem to the Jazz? Every single call, and I mean every single call, goes against the Jazz. This is not new.
Do we really need to pull out the fouls against and fouls for stats? Do we really need to do that?
Do you see that the free throws in the Golden State game were even?
Like,
I'm sorry. I'm not going to buy in to Ace. Tyler says, as usual, you guys side with everybody else but the Jazz. It's crystal clear that guys like Mike Conley, Donovan Mitchell, and Jordan Clarkson at Golden State are not going to get calls. Okay, so wait. Now you're saying that they're intentionally not giving calls. What do you say to Steph Curry the other night, who was complaining that they were getting into his space? This is... Donovan Mitchell there's not a lack of superstar respect for Donovan Mitchell. There's not. And you buying into that, you're Tom Ferry, a guy that I follow very closely. He's a great coach. Makes a really good point when he says, are you a victim or the victor? Because if you're a victim in this case, you're just going to say the NBA is against us. Oh, that's why we lost 2 years in a row in the first round.
Oh, it was
it was the officials.
Yeah, it was a push off. Yeah, we get it. It's been going on for like 30 years.
That wasn't Michael Jordan. That was the officials screwing the Jazz.
Yeah, okay.
At some point, you're going to have to become the victor and say, hey, the officials are not going to keep us from winning because we're going to do everything we need to do to control what we can control. And at some point, you're going to have to get at that. Braden Christensen says, good point. Hopefully the injury is not worse than what we think. That's what would be my biggest concern. Cody Strickland says, James there in the hot seat for criticism. It's all part of being the top team, getting more hate than love. I welcome it. Absolutely. Jeremy Bolton says, Jordan pushed off. Well, there was no foul called on that, so my guess is that wasn't a push-off. And I'm going to say Mike still had to hit the shot, right? Mike still had to hit one of the greatest shots ever. That's not why. I really don't want to go back into this. Why did the Jazz lose that championship? Do you really believe that one shot is why the Jazz lost that championship? Come on. Be better than that. Mick says, officials won't cost you the game, but they also won't help you win it. Well, are you asking for help to win a game? You're better than Golden State. You should have won that game.
You shouldn't have been down 20+ in this game against Golden State. How is this hard? Like, how do people not get
How
this?
many open looks did Golden State get in the corner? I mean, just look at Kent Bazemore's make-miss numbers. He missed so many open threes. The Jazz easily, and I'm not exaggerating, the Jazz could have been down 35 points in that game. If Golden State is making those corner threes, this is not even a conversation because they lose by double digits. Fantastic comeback. Take nothing away from the Jazz. The officials are not why the Jazz lost that game. I'm just telling you. They're not. James Knight says, major comment update. James Knight says, how do you guys find so many negatives on the best team in the NBA, even if it's statistical only? Okay, so what negative have we said today?
What's the negative? Help me understand what the negative is.
What's the negative
examples.
today?
I don't want to hear, hey, you guys hate on the Jazz. I want to hear examples. I want to hear specific things that we said. So roll it out in the comments, and we'll talk about it. Like Jazz fans don't want to hear, hey, the officials, are not the reason you lost that game.
The officials are crappy across the league, bro. It's not just in Jazz
did
games.
we not? By the way,
hello?
Today's Wednesday. I believe on Friday we specifically talked about the lack of quality officiating in the NBA because of COVID protocol. We specifically talked about how half of the NBA officiating personnel are out right now, and they're backfilling that with G League officials. So it's really not in question that the officiating is not good. The issue here is you guys want to live on the surface level and say, well, the officiating is why we lost the game. No, you lost the game because you were down 20, and you had to put a bunch of effort in to come back, and it didn't work out.
And I think when you look at calls that the Jazz get or don't get, Donovan Mitchell's the guy you want to point at because I think he is a very physical player both ways. Rudy Gobert, on the flip side of that, like Donovan Mitchell gets fouled every time he goes to the rack.
Yeah.
Okay? Rudy Gobert commits an offensive foul with his elbows, with his forearms, every time he touches the ball. And half to three-quarters of that is not called. It goes both ways. The officials are not going to blow the whistle. In crunch time, they want shot makers to make shots. That's what makes the game great. I know we've been down this road a lot. I do. Pete says, Jake, can you make the bag alert the theme for the song? Just play it every time the show starts and ends.
Alert, major bag alert.
Hey, man.
Cody Strickland says bag alert. Braden Christensen says bag alert.
Alert, major bag alert.
It's a thing.
Jeremy Bolton says bag alert.
It's a thing.
Ace says bag alert. Mike says bag alert or slurp alert.
Hey.
Okay.
Hey.
Cody Strickland says, good question. Should the Jazz try to lose tonight to keep the Blazers at the 5th seed or try to win and let the chips fall where they may? No, you want to beat the Blazers tonight.
Wait, why would you want the Blazers? Why would you want them in the 5th seed?
I have no idea. I want the.
I'm not.
I would much rather have. Listen, with that home court advantage, you're going to miss arguably 2 of the 3 best teams in the playoffs in the Western Conference. My point is, if you're the Jazz, why do you want the Lakers in the first round?
Yeah, why?
No.
Can you? I'm not even saying that that's a dumb take. I genuinely just don't understand. Like, why do you want the Blazers in the 5th seed? Why would you not want to see the Blazers in the first round?
Yeah. Jake, how come you never play the guy talking about how he'll try to be calm and not curse all the time? That's one of the best drops you guys have. Well,
I'll try to stay calm and not curse.
I would agree with that. He also says that's Jazz fans every time you guys bring up officiating.
That's what fucking ticks me to fuck off!
That is comedian Angry Vic. That's a really good point. Forgotten Soul says, I hate the bagler. Cody Strickland says, so that the Lakers play the Clippers.
Oh,
You're gonna
I see what
have.
doing
You're
there.
gonna
Okay.
have. You're gonna avoid a lot. You're not gonna avoid all these teams.
Yeah.
You're not. I'm telling you, you do not want the Lakers in the play-in tournament because I think they would win the play-in tournament, and you would wind up seeing them in the first round. I think if you're the Lakers, beat the Blazers tonight, and then hope they flip around and lose to a pissed-off Suns team tomorrow night.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's your best hope. But the Mavs are going to lose more than one the rest of their games, aren't they? Yes.
Yes, I would agree.
The Mavs and the so if you don't know the standings right now, it really is the Mavs and the Blazers are tied, and the Lakers are a game out. They're one game into the playoff. So this game tonight, with the Lakers winning last night, this game tonight now becomes critical. The Blazers are good. The Lakers are elite when they're healthy. What's going on in Dallas is awkward. I don't know if anybody saw this, and if you haven't, please go read. Kristaps Porzingis and Luka Doncic don't play well together. I think we all know that. It's awkward. Their numbers say they're terrible defensively when they're on the floor together. Mark Cuban, out of nowhere, came out and said that Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis don't like each other off the floor. And it's not related to Luka's hot mom, amazingly. Just thought I'd throw that in there. Anyway, the point is, nope. Anyway, I want it. She's hot. There's no doubt about it. I mean, her and Mrs. M are really close.
Whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, the point is, thanks, LeBron. The point is, Mark Cuban outed Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis as not liking each other and compared it to Jason Terry and Dirk Nowitzki, who we all know still probably to this day hate each other, and got into a physical fight in front of the team plane at one point in Dallas. Cuban compared it to that.
Wow.
And, oh, by the way, Luka Doncic hit a guy in the nuts the other night and got ejected.
I don't give a baker's fuck.
And now says his back hurts and he's not sure if he's going to play the remaining schedule for the Mavs.
Oh, what do you know?
Maybe you can go home and get a massage from your hot mom. If you do that, will you videotape it, please? Anyway, the point is... You want to? The point is, my back hurts too, Mrs. Doncic. South Jordan, Utah. Come on in. The point is... I lost my train of thought.
All right, we're going to move on here.
The point is, listen, in all seriousness, the Mavs do not scare me. The Lakers terrify me if I'm a Jazz fan.
Yeah.
They're unbelievable. I don't want to see the Lakers. I want to see the Blazers. The Jazz seem to have a good way to handle the Blazers.
Yeah.
We'll find out tonight when Jake and I are courtside, minus 13 rows. But anyway, the point is, we'll find out tonight with the Blazers in town. Tomorrow when we nap on this show because, well, we will have had no sleep. For you. We do this for you.
Yeah.
I think we'll be talking about a Jazz win. I think it is the home court advantage. We saw it against Denver, certainly. And we're seeing Denver continuing to struggle, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you're going to see the Jazz are going to win this game. And I think the Blazers are going to lose back-to-back in Phoenix.
Yeah.
And I think the Lakers are going to wind up not in that play-in tournament, which I think is
hope
better
so.
for the Jazz.
Yeah, I think that's better for the Jazz, but that's just me.
Forgotten Soul says, if anyone hasn't seen Luka's mom, search that up now. You should. Steve says, oh my, thirsty for Luka's mom, are we? Absolutely. Like I've been in the desert for years. She's hot, dude. I don't think anybody, she's Slovenian.
God bless.
Hey, you know what? As Tebow said, it's God-given assets, Melania, Slovenia, Luka Doncic's mom. And Luka's mom didn't have to marry Donald Trump to be famous. Okay, I should probably stop. No. Anyway, the point is, John Mulvaney says, Blazers play terrible D. That makes them third best 8th seed option for the Jazz. I think the Jazz match up very well with the Blazers.
Yeah.
Rudy and Nurkic is a good matchup. My question is, how will the Blazers, matriculate down the court? Meaning, how will they adjust their lineup? I think you're going to see some Carmelo at the 5. There's a lot of people talking about that.
Yeah.
I think they have a lot of versatility with their 4s and 5s. And I think if Nurkic struggles at all, I think you're going to see a lot of rotation out of Portland. They need this game.
Yeah, they're going to try and run Rudy off the court, which is to say that they're going to try and play with a lot of pace and force Quinn to play smaller. I think that's what you'll see.
Jeremy Bolton says, "Whoa, Luka's mom, geez-o." You're welcome.
Hey.
You're welcome. Forgotten Soul says, "Monty, do you have a wife?" No, not, well, I do now. She's filling out the paperwork and stuff. She's like 5 feet away from me right now, and I'm not even kidding. John Mulvaney says, "Niang, Boogie, JC, Jingles." I think you mean Bogey. Niang, Bogey, JC, Jingles, Royce can shoot over short Blazers backcourt. Damian Lillard has no problem with height. CJ McCallum. This is a really good team. Don't forget they added Norman Powell. Nobody's talking about Powell, and he's giving them,
Great
I think,
defender.
a good defender, but he's giving them really good perimeter play. Defensively, offensively. I always complain that Jordan Clarkson doesn't make that extra pass.
Yeah.
Powell always makes the extra pass because he understands it's CJ and Dame.
Yeah.
And when the game's on the line, dude,
Let's go.
it's Dame time. And that's what I think guys like Jordan Clarkson don't understand. And when you have a guy like Bojan Bogdanovic that's absolutely playing lights out, you give him the basketball for sure. Mark says, "Do you mean Bojan?"
Bojan.
I don't know what you mean by
Bojan Bogdanovic.
Bogdanovic and stuff. John Mulvaney says Powell 6'3". Gary Trent trade, not sure. Yes. I think that's worked out well. Trent, by the way, is hurt for Toronto, who's now eliminated.
I was going to say, yeah, they've won that trade.
They've won that trade huge. Steve also says, "What do you guys think about that Bulls game Brooklyn last night? I thought it was very telling." I think what I saw was Kevin Durant came back in the game and put that thing to bed.
Yeah.
Look, I'm a Chicago guy. I'm not a Bulls fan. I can't stand them. Jerry Reinsdorf is the worst owner in the history of professional sports.
Whoever came up with that shit need to be fired.
Put the guy in a box, and I will become a Bulls fan again. Not that I root for people to die, but it is what it is on this show.
God bless.
That Tebow drop is amazing. Man, real quick, I injured my front tooth somehow. I think it was eating almonds yesterday, and then I had terrible wings from that place that calls himself a Buffalo, which I'll never order from again.
Come on.
But, like, my tooth doesn't hurt, but if I tap the bottom of my tooth, it's like tapping Luka's mom. No, I'm kidding. It's like, you know how you just tap your tooth and
yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
I keep doing that because I have an overbite. I have a slight, so I keep banging my teeth together.
It vexes me.
I'm terribly vexed.
Terribly vexed.
Good Lord, I need adult braces. Hey, Monty, Celtics is really having a shifty season now. Yes, Cody, they are. How about that news?
Yeah,
Jaylen
they're in the
Brown.
play-in tournament now.
Yeah, torn wrist ligament out for the year.
We'll see ya.
Marcus says, "When do you hate the Bulls?" Look at that poster on the wall. Can I have it? No.
Yeah, it's Michael
No.
Jordan guy.
No.
That guy that you remember that conversation we were having earlier. That if you guys haven't heard of him, he's that guy that went and won a championship that the refs allowed him to do.
Push off. It was a push off.
Yeah.
Brian, not Byron. Monty, what shoe is on the wall? Oh, wow! Look at you guys.
Let's go.
That's a LeBron 18 low, beautiful shoe. It's got his signature on the tongue. I'm not a huge LeBron guy. His shoe is great to play basketball in.
Whatever.
That's why I bought that shoe. Because at some point in my life, I would hope to defatify myself by playing basketball. Probably will never happen. Forgotten Soul says Kevin Durant is incredible. He takes so many contested shots over good defenders and just buries that shot. Well,
I wake up in the morning, I piss excellent.
that's your slurp.
Yeah, I was gonna
dude.
say, wait, I thought I was the king of slurping, KD. I mean, look at the slurp juice in the comments now. Come on.
Yeah, John Mulvaney says Carmelo too slow, no D, still good 3-point shooter. Actually, take a second look at that. Carmelo's defense has been serviceable.
Gotten better. It's gotten better.
And it's because they're allowing him to play defense on bigs. He's not being asked to guard wings anymore. And I think that's where it went bad for him in Houston is they were asking him to guard wings, and that's not who he is.
Yeah.
And now you're letting him play on the block a little bit more, and they find ways to help him defensively. That's what you have to do because his jumper is knockdown.
Yeah.
His off the dribble stuff, and I'm sure you'll see it tonight. I mean, it is amazing.
I'll be curious to see who they put on him in those situations because I would guess the Blazers want Melo on Bogey, but I would just be curious to see. What that
I would
looks
think
like.
so. You know what? I think it'll be interesting. How much do they play Covington and Melo together? How much? Like there's just this odd mix. It's what the Blazers are. They're always awkward as a group. They don't have that easy cohesiveness. Like the Jazz have a nice set of guards, they have a nice set of tweener wings, and they've got Rudy Gobert. It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
You're going to shoot a lot of threes. Rudy's going to rebound and dunk on folks. I don't know what the identity of the Blazers is beyond the fact it's Dame time.
Yeah. That is our identity.
Nets and Jazz in the finals, Forgotten Soul says. I think it's a real possibility.
Dude. I would love that so much.
As a Jazz fan, you probably want to avoid that. I don't know. I listen, I think in the West, the teams you really fear, and I think this is Chet's point, the team you really fear is probably the Lakers.
Yeah.
But he says don't sleep on the Clippers.
No.
Kawhi Leonard is back like he never missed a minute.
Yeah.
I mean, that performance last night.
Again, you always hear the media talk about, hey, are you the team that's going to be hot going into the postseason? The Clippers are definitely that team. I think the Lakers have a chance to be that team who are, feeling really good about themselves heading into whether it is the play-in tournament or whether it is as a 7 seed. I think they have that opportunity as well.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And, we're watching NBA TV in the background. Where did Bam Adebayo come from? I mean, that guy has just turned himself into
beast.
That power forward center combination, and now he's shooting a mid-range, and I don't know what you do with that.
Yeah.
I really don't. Let's see, a lot of comments coming in. Okay, Ace says, hey, have you guys paid any attention at all to the slide of the Denver Nuggets? I can't see the slide because I'm too busy watching MPJ ripping threes. Seriously, that guy's getting paid, and I'm amazed by it. And when I look at the way that they've played, and yes, I agree that Denver.
They've run out of gas. I mean, that's just what it is.
But what did they do? They went to Charlotte and won a game that they probably had no business winning.
Mm-hmm.
And you did it because you got an MVP caliber performance out of Jokic with 30.6 boards, 1 assist, mind you.
Where was that against the Jazz?
1 assist.
Yeah.
And you get a huge performance out of Michael Porter Jr., 6 of 10 from 3. They beat Charlotte by shooting 40% from 3. Like, it is, to me, I look at Jokic at 30 and 11 with 6 dimes. I look at Porter with 6 of 10 from 3. I go down and I look at Jermichael Green, who's given them huge minutes off their bench.
He is a name that you if the Jazz wind up in a series with the Nuggets, you need to know who Jermichael Green is.
By the way, what did I tell you they should do with Austin Rivers the other night against the Jazz?
They should play him at point.
They should start him.
Yes.
What did they do last night? They started Austin Rivers.
Yeah.
And I think that is it. That's a huge deal. And you start him and Campazzo together, and you're not forcing, like they started Paul Millsap, I want to say, in Utah. Maybe that was a tip of the cap to Paul, I don't know. But playing 15, 16 minutes off the bench against the Jazz makes a lot of people question what they were doing at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Him playing 15, 16 minutes against the Hornets makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So Michael Malone seems to have found his lunacy. Listen, if you're counting on the Nuggets to go away, I wouldn't. That team is going to get healthy, and if they get their guards back, I'm telling you, they're a tough out as well. Mulvanian says Hornets lost to the Pelicans, less Zion. Well, less Zion and less BI as well. I mean, don't forget about Brandon Ingram not being healthy there. Forgotten Soul says we killed the Nuggets' momentum. Yeah, that was you could see the frustration. You could see the soul leaking out of their lives.
Yeah, the Jazz
sitting on
them,
the bench
bro.
the other night.
I mean, the Jazz. The word that comes to mind is demoralized. I mean, that's the feeling that you had in that game. You were frustrated. You didn't have an answer. You could not stop the Jazz. Like they again. you can go back and listen to the show. We said it like a gazillion times that day, the day after that game. But the Jazz deserve a lot of credit for just absolutely torching them.
Slick wants to know if he missed the giveaway yet.
No, bro. If you're asking if you missed the giveaway, you don't know the giveaway.
Slick,
Bro.
my brother.
Yeah, come on.
Are you talking that you missed the Xbox giveaway? But who tagged me on Twitter this morning?
Yesterday, or was that this morning? Someone was still on the Xbox.
Yeah, which is fine. It was Hiram Taylor who tagged us on. Hey man, that's cool. You're subscribed. I'm all down with that. That's good. Oh look, hey Vic, subscribing to the show. Appreciate you, Vic. Thank you. Hey, are you guys doing a show today? Yes, Cody Strickland, we are. Marcus on Twitter says, you guys sure do favor the Jazz a lot these days.
wait. Whoa. Got to hit the pause button. Hang on. So wait.
Are you sure?
Earlier in the show, what did we get?
Mike, you guys hate the Jazz. It's always negative with you guys, a-holes.
And then now what do we get?
Oh, you guys sure do favor the Jazz. We're
Wow.
probably doing it right. Pete says, sacrilege to say you hate the Bulls. Who's next? The Cubs? Never. Never. You know what I'm saying? Hiram Taylor, there he is. What's up, Hiram Taylor? Right on, guys. Love the show. Love you. Austin Lewis says, too bad Jazz probably can't get Julius Randle in the offseason. Man is a baller. I don't know how everybody keeps talking about him for most improved player. Is Julius Randle not an MVP candidate?
Yeah, he's got to be.
I would think so.
Yeah.
I would absolutely think so. Do you guys, well, and there's your question. Mitch wants to know if we think that Julius Randle's an MVP candidate. I do. I don't think he's going to. I think Jokic is the MVP.
I think that there's so MVP candidates, there's two kinds of them, right? There's the guy that deserves to be in the conversation, and there's the guy that's legitimately in the running to win it. Julius Randle deserves to be in the conversation. He's not in the running to win it.
Is Steph in the running to win it?
I think Steph is in the running to win it, simply because he has more stature in the league and he's done a lot of things in the league. So I think he gets a lot more respect than a guy like Julius gets.
Is Talon Horton Tucker in the MVP candidate?
No.
I'm telling you, he's deadly. I've been talking about it.
Yeah.
And by the way, yes, somebody pointed out, I thought you said you were a Laker fan. I am a Laker fan.
LeBron's shoes on the wall, just saying.
I'm not a LeBron fan at all. I said, wait, Jake, I'll give you another shot here.
Right.
I said, I'm not a LeBron fan at all.
Whatever.
Yeah, thank you. I covered the Lakers during the Kobe Shaq years. That was an awesome time in my life, and I'm a casual observer of the LA Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
Talon Horton Tucker, stud. Like the guy can play.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to give it one MVP vote right now,
one MVP vote right now,
it's got to be Jokic. How is it anybody but Jokic?
Yeah, I mean, I think, looking at the entire season, it's Jokic. I don't like the fact that, and it's not Jokic's fault, but the Jazz performance was not great, in terms of losing that game. The way
Missed
he
a
lost
triple-double
the game.
by what, 2 rebounds?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying the MVP is not just statistical. The MVP is also, like winning the meaningful games on your schedule and things like that too. So I'm not taking a lot away from him. I do think he's going to win it, but I think when I look at what Steph Curry's doing right here today in this season, they are winning games that they have no business winning.
Steph or Giannis?
Steph for sure. Yeah, I'm not a Giannis guy at all.
Finally, you've come around.
Well, I've never been like a Giannis fan. I've just simply said that whether you like the way he plays or not, he puts up numbers.
Come on. No, I'm not doing this today. I do not have the energy to be Mr. Negative on the Jazz and Giannis Antes, your mama's Kupo.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the energy to do it.
Mm-hmm.
He is not an MVP in my mind.
Well,
Joel Embiid or Steph Curry? Yeah, say it. Go ahead, say it.
Yeah, Steph Curry.
Thank you. I think it is Steph Curry, and I think it is Nikola Jokic.
Yeah. Chris Paul is a distant in the conversation.
I think them losing really hurts him.
Yeah.
I think them losing really, really hurts them. And I think, like Luka's hot mom, I don't think he's in the discussion. I think he's given it away. I do. The defensive player of the year is pretty cut and dry. I think it's Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
I don't think it's close. Most improved player is Julius Randle by a runaway train.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I have to think Jordan Clarkson wins Sixth Man of the Year.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't even think that's a conversation.
I don't think it's close. I think Quinn Snyder or Monty Williams for Coach of the Year.
Monty Williams.
Tom Thibodeau or Monty Williams?
Monty Williams.
I think it's Tom Thibodeau.
No.
I think at the end of the day, Tom Thibodeau is going to win Coach of the Year. I do.
Well, I hope that doesn't happen. I'm not a Tom guy.
Cody Strickland, James Harden in the MVP talks? No. Spida Mitchell in the conversation, John Mulvaney says. Not even, I don't know how.
I think that I just don't think he's there yet. I think he's coming, but I don't think he's quite there yet.
Ooh, Forgotten Souls has an interesting list. MVP, Jokic, Embiid, Randall, CP3, and Steph.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Steph behind CP3?
No, I don't. Is that what he's saying? He's putting him in that order?
I would have to think that. And Forgotten Souls, correct me. I don't mean to speak for your greatness, but I would think that that's his order.
Well,
James Knight says, when Don and Mike come back, do you think that will benefit Jingles coming off the bench?
Yes.
I think here's why are you not starting Jordan Clarkson
right now?
Yeah, why this George Niang thing?
Because Jordan
Clarkson, as I refer to it as.
Jordan Clarkson is not a guy that's capable of starting and giving you the same production. That's not who he is. He is the guy who comes off the bench and gives you a big performance. That's his role.
I think and Quinn Snyder is a brilliant coach, so I know he knows this, but Quinn, let me just give you some advice, bro. Get Joe Ingles off the ball.
Yeah.
And if you do that, I would personally start Clarkson, and I would not start Joe Ingles. I'd have Joe Ingles be the sixth man. I mean, you're only playing George Niang limited role anyway, so it really doesn't matter. But I don't know, man.
I think this is going to sound ridiculous at first, but hear me out. So, I think there's credence to the idea that you could have a guy like in just this week, right? Just to experiment a little bit. You could give Trent Forrest 10 minutes at the start of the game to see what he's like running the offense. Now, I'm not saying that you want to give him starters. What? Yeah, heavy sigh. I get it, but the problem is they ain't got a point guard to play the position.
Trent Forrest is a god.
I'm not saying he's a god.
Oh my God, Trent Forrest. Oh, his mom is so hot.
I want it.
She's not. I don't know if she is or not. No offense, Miss Forrest. I've never met you.
You and your mom are hillbillies.
Could be. She could be a hillbilly. I have no idea. Trent, no offense. No, please don't. Please do not start him. I don't.
What other options do you have, man? You can't. You want to get Joe off the ball. Who are you going to put there?
Well, I just said Jordan.
You're
Clarkson.
not starting. I'm telling you, that's not happening.
Okay.
It's not.
Okay. Cody Strickland says Clarkson is a take the ball and shoot.
Yeah.
For the starting lineup, you need a pass and fill to me, not just take the ball and shoot. However, that's why Clarkson's not a starter. Probably. I don't know. In order, Jokic, Steph, Randall, CP3, and Embiid, Forgotten Souls says.
Yeah, I mean, the injury stuff with Embiid pushes him down the list for sure.
I would agree with that. Cody Strickland also says, what about Oni?
Yeah, I could see Oni a little bit, but I think Oni is less of a point guard and he's more of a wing player. A wing.
Yes.
He's Norman Powell for the Jazz. He's a defender. You've got, again, to reference the amazing Jazz media, you've got people saying that he took the wind out of these different point guards.
Jazz media.
Yeah. The hell out of here.
Brandon Whitesides, good morning to you, my friend. He says Monty would be in the lotto without Paul. The Suns would not be in the lottery. I think they'd be at the bottom of the. I mean, again, if you watched the game last night, tell me again that Devin Booker's not a superstar. Tell me again. When he gets to the Lakers, tell me he won't be one of the best players in the NBA.
He turned it over late in the game.
So we're hiring a new co-host for this show.
Okay, fuck you. How's that?
Yeah. How about that?
Oh.
Cash me outside.
Oh, my God, dude.
That's one of the greatest drops we've ever played right there. We wouldn't be having the conversation if we had picked up Mike James. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Just saying. By the way, he played huge minutes for the Nets last night. Was that a Scarface drop? Yes, it was.
Okay, fuck you. How's that?
Scarface, one of the greatest movies Jake has never seen. Go ahead, admit you've never seen
I
Scarface.
actually have seen it.
You have not.
Yes, I have.
You have not.
All I have in this world is my balls and my word. And I don't break them for
nobody.
You understand?
You understand? Tony Montana, one of the greatest ever. All right, can we talk about Tim Tebow? After I tell you, please give us a thumbs up and a subscribe on this channel. It really helps us grow. Once we get to 750 subscribers, subs is the simp word.
God bless.
You know, once we get to 750 subscribers, we are going to give away a PlayStation 5 and one of our signature sweatshirts that nobody has. They're not even available yet. You know, it's going to be amazing. Our elevated clothing line, our signature sweatshirt, we're going to give that to you when we get to 750 subscribers. Now, we've picked up almost 100 in the last week. Let's get it done. Please hit subscribe right now. Give us a thumbs up if you're already subscribed. If you're not, give us a thumbs up and hit subscribe. Then take a picture that you're subscribed. Tag us on Twitter with it. Put that picture on Twitter or Instagram.
The gram.
And just tag the Monty Show and SLC Supercars, even though we're going to replace him soon.
Mm-hmm.
And Cody Strickland's going to host the show instead
Oh, really?
of you.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, hey.
Tyler would, but he hates me. Anyway, the point is just tag the Monty Show and SLC Supercars on Twitter and Instagram, and you're entered to win the drawing the day we cross 750 subscribers. The next day we'll give it away. So hook it up, make it happen on YouTube.